بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وعاشروهن بالمعروف. Live with them with goodness and kindness. Allah Ta'ala here is addressing men on the attitude they should uphold when living with their wives. So He gives us really a golden principle of marital life. وعاشروهن بالمعروف. Live with your wives with goodness and kindness. This rule of ma'roof governs our social relationships, particularly the marital one. Ma'roof being that which all sound-minded, reasonable people know to be kind and good. That's the golden rule and the attitude of every person in their relationships, in the marital relationships in particular. Marriage is a beautiful thing, but it also comes with responsibilities and duties. And sometimes, especially if we're not accustomed to responsibility, this can cause a bit of a clash when we first get married. This happens to a lot of young people. Spend 20 or 25 years almost with zero responsibility. And then suddenly they're thrown into the deep ocean of marriage, which is a beautiful ocean, but it's also one which can only really run properly if people are committed to being reasonable, sensible, and responsible. However, even that responsibility can sometimes be overdone. Sometimes we can focus so much on rights and responsibilities and duties. You should be doing this, and I'm not going to do this because you're not doing that. That actually ends up ruining the spirit of marriage altogether. Rights and responsibilities are not the spirit of marriage. They're in place to help people govern their marriages. They're in place to ensure that people raise their standards. Otherwise, people are going to be lazy and do nothing. People, a lot of the time we just want the good parts of relationships, but we don't want the burden and the responsibilities. So there have to be some responsibilities and limits and boundaries in place. That's for our own good. And by the way, being a responsible person only makes us happier and more successful, and those around us happy and successful. But we always want to return things back to the golden rule of ma'roof. Live with kindness and live with goodness. It's not all about you have to do this, you're supposed to do this, this is your duty, this is your problem, this is not my problem. And if a husband and wife have that kind of attitude, keep reminding each other of their duties, that's already the beginning to failure, the beginning of a failed marriage. Instead, we have the attitude of, I'm going to be kind, I'm going to compromise, I'm going to be generous, I'm going to go beyond what I have to do. I'm going to overlook if my spouse doesn't fulfill a duty occasionally here, there, and so on. That is a thriving, successful marriage. And that's a marriage that will bring hearts together. And the continuation of the ayah that I recited at the beginning, وَعَاشِرُهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ, live with them with goodness and kindness. فَإِن كَرِهْتُمُوهُنْ فَعَسَىٰ أَن تَكْرَهُوا شَيْئًا وَيَجْعَلَ اللَّهُ فِيهِ خَيْرًا كَثِيرًا. If you dislike them, then it may be that you dislike something that Allah is going to put a lot of good and blessing in. That can happen. We're human beings, our hearts can change. We can sometimes feel not the same kind of love that we were feeling at the beginning of a marriage, or we can sometimes be upset or feel some kind of distance between our spouses. But there's this ayah alluding us to being kind and being good and being gentle and easy, and often that has a big impact on the hearts themselves. Hearts change very quickly, and kindness is one of the most effective ways to purifying hearts, to bringing hearts together, and to successful relationships, whether that be with our wives and husbands or children, parents, but it particularly is important in the marital relationship. May Allah Ta'ala grant us all beautiful homes based upon righteousness and goodness and kindness. Wa sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in.